announcement has been paid for by the new Howl Order.
Whether the team is giving us the highest of highs or the blues of blues, we'll cover it all here on Commanders Nightly News. I, of course, am your host, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Let's get to tonight's lead story. So I couldn't help but think to myself as I watched last night's epic Monday Night Football contest between the Jets and the Bills about the state of our franchise and our team. And this is why I think it is imperative that as a fan, you watch other teams around the league to kind of get a sense of what this team may be missing or what they may have in abundance. Because sometimes I think our fan base takes certain aspects of our team for granted and think that it's a lot worse off than what it really is because they haven't watched the rest of the league to see how poor the actual quality of play at that particular position is league-wide and where we actually sit at that position. And conversely, I think sometimes people are okay and I think resigned to the fact that this is normal standard practice around for this particular team and it's okay and it's not okay. And last night, I looked at the running back position of the New York Jets, and I remember saying to myself when they went out and acquired Dalvin Cook that this is overkill. You drafted Israel Abakanda out of Pitt, who's a speedster. You have Michael Carter, who's a damn good third down, change of pace back that you drafted out of North Carolina 2 years ago. You have Breece Hall coming off of, major knee surgery, tearing his ACL, but he was on his way to being the rookie of the year offensively last year before the injury, and he's fully healthy, as we saw last night. And so I didn't think there was this need for another back, but they added Dalvin Cook anyway. And I remember this offseason, there was a lot of rumblings and grumblings about Washington potentially adding Kareem Hunt to the running back position. And I wasn't interested then. I'm not interested now. And it didn't make sense to me because we already have guys in Brian Robinson and Chris Rodriguez Jr. who do the exact same thing, maybe not to the extent. And I think Robinson can, but, not to the extent maybe of a Kareem Hunt. But still, he doesn't offer any speed. There's no oomph. There's no punch in the arm. There's no added boost or incentive to add another physical back. We got enough of those. If Antonio Gibson is your only true home run threat, and he's not really even a true running back at this point, what are you doing at the position? Watching that Jets game last night, and not just the Jets, the Bills having James Cook and seeing how dynamic he is with the ball in his hands and what he could potentially do in terms of being explosive this year, and just looking at the running back position as a whole around the league and looking at some of these explosive players. And I just look at our situation and I think, what are we doing at the running back position anyway? It's getting maddening at this point because I like Brian Robinson, and there is a place for him not only in this league, but on this team, okay? I like him a lot, and I think he's going to be a huge part of the success of this offense this year, and moving forward, for that matter. But he's supposed to be the hammer of a two-headed backfield that features another dynamic option that can be a home run threat every time he touches the football. And you don't have to spend a first, second, or third round pick or even a fourth or a fifth round pick. You can find one of those types of guys in the fifth, sixth, seventh round. Israel Abakanda was around in the fifth round. That's when the Jets got him. You don't have to spend a first day pick or even a second day pick on an explosive dynamic change of pace back. But we don't. We don't do this. And every year we look up and we're not getting explosive plays through the run game. We're not doing – everything comes so hard for this offense because we don't have explosive plays through the run game. Everything's 1 yard, 2 yards, 4 yards, 7 yards in the run game. It's never 27 yards. When's the last time we had a 25-yard run or more in this offense? from a running back? When's the last time we had an explosive run from a running back? Something that didn't require the quarterback to transfer the ball from his hands to somebody else's. When's the last time we gave the ball to a playmaker and they ran with it and we got an explosive gain out of it from the running back position? I can't even tell you. I don't know when the last time is we had an explosive run. Those seem like a distant memory now. We need to add some dynamic speed in our backfield. I'm really sick and tired of this same old, and I'm guilty of this too. I've, allowed myself to be sucked into this, Antonio Gibson narrative of, oh, we got an explosive dynamic back. How many times have we seen this 4.3 speed that he has? Once? Maybe? Twice? 3 times max. I think we saw it twice in his rookie season. That screen that he had against the Ravens that he caught, and then the jet sweep against the Cowboys in his rookie season. I think those are the 2 times we saw it in his rookie season. And then the screen against Buffalo in his second year in 2021. Have we seen his speed display itself in any other manner than those 3 plays in his career? We haven't seen that top end speed in 2 years since 2021. We're in 2023 now. So at this point, I've all but given up on the fact that we're going to see that consistently from him. I want a difference maker in the backfield. And again, he doesn't have to be a every down type of back. He could be a change of pace back. There are guys that you can find at smaller schools. There are guys that are college football running backs that you can get in the later rounds that can run. And we don't have any of them on our team right now. And that is frustrating. You know how nice it is to get an 83-yard run from your running back? We haven't had one of those since Adrian Peterson was here in 2018? Was the last time when he ran that long, 90-yard run against the Eagles for the touchdown? Is that the last time we had an explosive run like that? Because I can't think of another one since then. Maybe Chris Thompson had one. I doubt it. Because you got to go back to 2017 or 16 for Chris Thompson doing some shit like that. So, I mean, it's frustrating. Maybe Geis and Adrian Peterson in 2019, that game against the Panthers, maybe? What are we talking about, man? If we're talking about 19, 18, or what are we talking about? And then to take it a step further, watching the game last night and seeing Xavier Gibson, an undrafted free agent wide receiver out of Stephen F. Austin, making their team and impacting the game the way that he did with the punt return, it just makes me sick to my stomach thinking how every year I say the same thing to you guys. We need a punt returner. And every year I mock us a guy at the back end of the draft, 7th round, undrafted. You can find guys. They found him at Stephen F. Austin. There are guys like that. Plenty of them. Do your homework. Find one of these guys. Instead, no, we want to go get the core special teamer. We want to go get the big kid that's 6'4", that can't help. When's the last time we had a dynamic return man? And I get it. The returns game has been minimized. You rarely see kickoff returns in the NFL anymore. And punt returns are really a thing of the past. But every so often, you're going to get an opportunity with space and a chance to make something happen. And if you don't have the guy back there, it doesn't matter. It's not going to happen anyway. But if you do have the guy, like the Jets do, like the Jags do. You didn't watch the Jags game. I know a lot of you didn't watch Jags Colts, right? But there's a punt in that game, late in that ball game. And one of the best return men in the league, Jamal Agnew, fields the punt. And he's running to his right. He stops, just like Xavier Gibson did, stops, plants, turns, runs to his left, and hauls ass down the sideline, cuts it back, and ends up getting like a 70-yard punt, setting Jacksonville up for the knockout blow against Indianapolis. You know how refreshing that is? To start your drive at the plus 29-yard line because your punt returner just returned a kick 67 yards? No, you wouldn't know how that feels because we don't do that here in Washington. There's a need for more playmakers. Yeah, we got them at the receiver position, and I think we may have some at the tight end position. But we need more. We need one at the running back position, and we need a kick returner. This is getting old. It's not okay for us to just have a guy back there catching the ball. It's not okay. I'll take the guy that will field the ball cleanly without any mistakes over the guy that is dynamic but might put it on the carpet once or twice. Give me the guy that's just going to catch it. But we shouldn't be settling for just the guy that can catch it when there's a guy that can do both. Field it cleanly, catch it, and still make a play. That's allowed, and there are guys that can actually do that. We don't have to choose one or the other. They just got to go find the guy. And they haven't. And I don't even know if they're trying. And that's the part that's frustrating. That's a hell of a play last night by Xavier Gipson. Why can't we find an Xavier Gipson? They're out there. Find a guy, bring him in here, and let's change the game. No, they want to go get a guy that doesn't have a single career punt return in his whole collegiate career and bring him in here and try to make him a punt returner. Why? When there are plenty of guys who have done it for 3-4 years in college who are prolific at it. Go get that guy. We could have drafted a Tank Dell. He could help not only as a receiver. You're going to probably lose Curtis Samuel next year. He could have helped not only as a Curtis Samuel replacement and a receiver, but also as a punt returner. Again, I hate to beat a dead horse. There are plenty of guys out there. There was a receiver, Darius Davis. I know he went a lot sooner than any of us thought. He went a lot sooner. I think he went in the 4th round. That's a lot earlier than I projected him. I had him being mocked to us in the 7th round. But there are guys like him in college football, scattered around the nation. Find a guy. Even if you don't want to spend a draft pick, that's fine. Make it a priority after the draft's done. I'm sick of not having any explosive plays out of the return game or even the threat of one. We don't even think something's coming. All we're hoping is that something bad doesn't happen. That's no way to live. The need for playmakers at running back and punt/kickoff return is a necessity that this team needs to address as soon as possible. It probably won't happen this year. No, I know it's not going to happen this year. And if this group is here next year, it better happen next year. This is ridiculous. In other news, I want to talk about the snap counts. Those have been released. And I want to talk about our upcoming next 2 opponents, because if you watched the game last night, you saw the Bills, and a lot of you came away from that game thinking, hey, they're vulnerable. I've been telling you this already. Not because the Bills are a bad team and not because they're going to turn it over 4 times every single time they play. That's not who they are, routinely, but they can turn it over, and Josh Allen will turn it over if you apply pressure and you take advantage of opportunities that are presented. And we don't always do that, as we know. With this team, we saw opportunities for turnovers that we didn't seize in week number 1. But with that said, there is an opportunity against Buffalo. But they're in week 3. We got a week 2 opponent in the Denver Broncos. We're going to talk about that a little bit here in a second. But first, I want to take a look at the snap counts for offense and for the defensive side of the football. So let's do that right now. So as you can see, there were 71 snaps on the offensive side of the football, and each of the following guys played all 71 snaps. Andrew Wiley, Charles Leno Jr., Sadiq Charles, Sam Howell, and Nick Gates. The only guy on the offensive line to not play all 71 snaps was Sam Cosmi, who was being evaluated for a concussion. He came back into the game only missing 3 snaps. Played 96% of the game, 68 snaps. Terry, who we didn't know at the beginning of the week, was he going to play or not, played 63 snaps out of the 71, which is 89%. So much for that injury and Terry not being available. He was really good and played a ton of snaps. Jahan right behind him at the receiver position with 62 snaps for 87%. Logan Thomas played 58 snaps, 82% of them. Curtis Samuel, 46 snaps, 65%. Brian Robinson Jr. played 43 snaps, leading all backs with 61% of the snaps. John Bates, 26 snaps, 37%. Antonio Gibson was out there for 25 snaps offensively, 35% of the snaps. De'Ami Brown, 19 plays, 27% of the offensive snaps. Cole Turner, 10 plays, 14%. And Chris Rodriguez and Ricky Stromberg both saw the field on 3 snaps for 4% of the offensive snaps. So of this list, and I already know where you're going to go, and I'm going to the same exact spot, but I'm going to pose this question to you. Leave your answers in the comment section. But I think we're going to be in agreement here. Who do you feel like needs less snaps, and or who needs more snaps? Maybe not necessarily taking snaps away from someone else, but just figure out a way to get this guy on the field. Obviously, if you're giving somebody more snaps, that means you're taking somebody off the field and giving them less snaps. The one that sticks out like a sore thumb for me is Cole Turner. The 10 snaps isn't nearly enough. I'm not telling you that he has to start. A lot of you are ready to start him. I'm not ready to do that yet. But what I am telling you is 10 snaps isn't nearly enough for a guy that I think is our best playmaker at the tight end position as we sit here right now. Logan Thomas still serves the purpose, but I don't think he's more dynamic than Cole Turner in the pass game. And if we can see it, I know they can see it, and it's only a matter of time before they finally acknowledge the fact that, yes, Logan Thomas serves a purpose, but if we're looking to push the football vertical, if we're looking to be dynamic in the pass game, Cole Turner offers us a lot more in that regard than that of Logan Thomas. The 58-10 is a bit much for me. I think we need to start seeing that number reduced for Logan and increased for Cole. Again, I don't expect it to happen overnight, but if next week we have the same 71 snaps, I'd like to see it be, 45 for Logan and, 23 for Cole, right? Like, reduce his snaps a little bit more, give Cole a little bit more run and more opportunities, and start to increase his workload and see what he does with it, right? But I'd love to see Cole Turner get 35% of the snaps next week instead of just 14, I think that's where most of you would go with that, but leave it down in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you guys as to who you guys think deserves more snaps versus someone that deserves less. Now let's take a look at the defensive snaps, and 62 snaps in total for the game defensively. And as you can see, there were 5 players that played all 62 defensive snaps. Cody Barton, Benjamin St. Juste, Derek Forrest, Cam Curl, and Kendall Fuller never came off the field defensively in the game, playing all 62 snaps. Jonathan Allen was the next highest count at 57 snaps of the 62 for 92%. Montez Sweat played 51 snaps for a grand total of 82% of the game. Deron Payne right behind him at 50 snaps defensively for 81%. James Smith-Williams, who went into the game as questionable, played 42 snaps for 68%. Jamin Davis played 40. So, obviously Cody Barton's the man in the middle with the green dot and all that good stuff. So he's going to be out there. But Jamin Davis only playing 40 snaps, 65%. Is noteworthy. Emmanuel Forbes Jr., we saw him coming on and off the field throughout the game, and Ron talked about this in his day after presser about how, they feel really good about Benjamin St. Juste and Kendall Fuller. And so right now they feel good about those guys being on the field at all times, and Forbes is going to continue to work his way in there. Like, they really like him, and they feel like he could play, all 62 snaps, but they don't have to do that right now, and so they're not. He played 40 snaps. 65% of the snaps. Percy Butler, 33 snaps, 53% of the snaps in the game. Casey Toohill, 29 snaps, 47%. John Ridgway, 16 snaps for 26%. Abdullah Anderson, very impactful in the 10 snaps that he played for 16%. And Andre Jones Jr. played 4 snaps, 6%. And I think he showed that he's very, very green and has a long way to go in those 4 snaps in the game. So anybody here that you feel like has too many snaps and could see a reduction, and you'd like to see an upgrade in the amount of snaps for someone else. I've seen on social media a lot of people, poking holes at Cody Barton and his play and PFF. Somebody sent me PFF had him graded at a 37 or some shit like that. I don't care about that. I don't care about PFF. I haven't watched the film yet. I'll be doing that today, so I'll have a chance to kind of see if I see what they saw or if I disagree, which I usually disagree with them. So we'll see what happens there. But anybody on this list surprise you? Too many snaps, too few snaps? Would like to see them play a little bit more? Would like to see someone play less? Let me know down in the comment section. So, I want to talk about the upcoming next two opponents. On the road at Denver, home for Buffalo in the next 2 weeks, respectively. Denver's very beatable. They scored 16 points, and we'll do this throughout the course of the week. But remember, this is something else I wanted to talk to you guys about. This is not going to be an ordinary week for me. I'm going out of town. I'm going to repeat this at least 2 to 3 more times this week so that you know what's going on. But the schedule is going to be janky. What I'm going to do my best to do is make sure that you have content every day like normal, Thursday and Friday, even though I will be out of the office from Thursday all the way to next Monday. So you won't be getting any actual live content from me unless, and I'm going to try my best, but I'm going out of town with the fellas. We're going to South Beach to enjoy ourselves, celebrating one of my boys' birthdays. And so we're going to do it up. We're going to the Miami versus, I think it's FAMU they're playing, either them or it's one of these HBCUs that they're playing. So we're going to that game on Thursday. Friday, we're going to the Braves game. They're playing the Marlins. They're in town. Obviously, I'm a massive Braves fan. So is my buddy. So we're going to that game on Friday. And then Saturday, we're going to kick it. We're going to light up the town. And then Sunday, we're going to kick back and watch NFL ball all day long, all day strong. And obviously, we have a late game. So it is conducive for us to watch all the games and then head back to the hotel for the Sunday night game. And I may be able to go live then with you guys and talk about the Denver game. That's my hope. I can't guarantee you that that'll be the case. If not, then at some point we'll get on live when I get back into the office and talk about the Denver game and all the things that I saw, and kind of hear from you guys and how you guys feel. I'm going to try my best to do that on Sunday though, while it's fresh. But obviously, I'm going to be out of the office Thursday and Friday, so I won't be able to update the injury status. So that's something that will be missing from the show. But you will get a Commanders Nightly News on Thursday, which will feature, behind enemy lines and kind of taking a look at the Denver Broncos and things of that nature. Friday, you'll get an episode. Again, all of these episodes will be without the injury report because I won't be at my office, and these will be pre-recorded. So again, you won't have the update. So if something happens during the course of the week, I'm not going to be able to talk about that because obviously these are pre-recorded episodes. But I'll be able to give you my keys to the game in the game plan, and then my ultimately the prediction for the game on Friday. So you'll still get those things. It just won't be as fluid as it always is with all the information that you're used to getting. And then Sunday, again, you may or may not get a overtime from me or a post-game show. I'm going to try my best to provide you guys with one. The timing may be a little janky and off, but, if I can, then I will. If I can't, then I'll try and do it Monday when I get back in town that night. Anyway, there's a lot going on. So I just wanted to keep you abreast of that. And so this week will be a little funky in that regard. But the next two opponents I look at and I say, we could start this season off 3-0. Now, let's start with Denver. They scored 16 points. They lost to the Raiders at home. They're still offensively challenged. They're still figuring out some things. What I can tell you right now watching that game is that they're much more efficient than they were last year under Nathaniel Hackett. I didn't see the turnovers. Russell Wilson wasn't being harassed and sacked. He was getting the ball out of his hands. He was getting out of the pocket. You can tell he's lost weight. He's in much better shape. He's a lot more mobile. He's a lot more accurate with the football. So these could be problems for us if we aren't careful. If we don't contain, if we don't keep our rush lane integrity, he will escape the pocket. He will outflank our edge rushers, and he will extend plays. He did that in the game against Vegas and was very successful in doing that. The numbers don't jump out and bite you, but the numbers aren't bad either. They're very efficient, clean numbers. They just weren't impactful in the way of explosive plays. So if we can seem to do some of the things the Raiders did, which was limit the explosives, force them to earn everything that they get, and limit their possessions down into the red zone. They didn't have a lot of opportunities down in the red zone in the football game. And that's because the Raiders found ways to get off the field. If we can do those things, we'll have a great chance to win. They look just like us. I think this is a game where we're essentially staring in the mirror. There's an elite defense over there that causes problems, that doesn't give up a bunch of points, but there's also an offense that they're protecting that doesn't score a bunch of points, that is making it tough on that defense to pin their ears back and get out the other team because there's just not enough of a cushion there for them to do that. So, a Broncos fan said to me the other night, if you can score 20, congratulations, you win the football game. So I'd really look at it in that way. If the first team to 20 is probably going to win that football game. We'll talk more about that as the week goes on, but that's a very winnable football game. I hate going to Denver. I hate playing at Mile High. It's been a house of horrors for us. Things never seem to go right there, but this is a very, very winnable game. And if you're serious about making it a season this year, that's a game that you need to go and find a way to win. And they're saying the same thing about us. Just understand that. They lost a heartbreaking game in week 1 to a family member. They're looking to bounce back at home. You can't start the season 0-2 at the crib. If you're Denver, they're looking at us, they're licking their chops, and they're thinking to themselves, we have to win this game. And if it's the same spot we were in last year. We went to Detroit. They came off of a tough, hard-fought loss. They were licking their chops, couldn't start 0-2 at home, and they felt like, hey, we got a team here coming in Washington that we can handle. We need to take care of business and get off the schneid here, and they did that. We can't fall victim and prey to the same thing that we did last year. We got to go to Denver and make a statement, and it doesn't have to be this loud, grandiose statement. Just come back with a dub. That's a big enough statement in itself, okay? As for week 3 against Buffalo, we don't know what the Bills will be by week 3. They could have gotten their act together, smoked the Raiders in week 2, and be playing with a ton of confidence come week 3. Don't allow yourself to fall into the trap of thinking, oh my God, Buffalo sucks. They don't. And I think most of you are smart enough to know better than that. But also understand that this game is not in Buffalo, and that Buffalo, they are vulnerable, and we're the type of defense that gives Josh Allen trouble normally. Now, we're going to have to prove it. I'm still not sold on this defense. I get it. They dominated Arizona. It's Arizona. It was Josh Dobbs. Okay? They did what they were supposed to do. Do it against Russell Wilson. And that's not a great offense. Well, good. They're not great. Show me they're not great. Do what you did to Arizona to Denver. All right? Make me a believer. I want to believe. Make me a believer. You do the same thing to Denver that you just did to Arizona, and I'll go into that Buffalo game with my chest stuck out, and I'll be talking enough trash to let you know that I believe now. But make me a believer. So we'll see. But I think we're going to match up well with Buffalo. The question is, can we make enough plays to win that football game? We'll get there. Okay, don't skip steps. But I don't want you to get outside of yourself, and I don't want to get you thinking ahead of yourself, right? But we can get off to a really fast start this season. It's there for the taking if we want it. And we're going to have to earn it. And I wouldn't have it any other way. But we can beat Denver and we can beat Buffalo. One game at a time. And Denver is where my eyes are. My eyes are on the prize. But I'm just telling you, there is an opportunity for us to get off to that fast start that we've been talking about all offseason. It's there and it's within reach. Are we going to grab it or are we going to miss it just like we have in previous years? We'll see. Anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on this installment of the Commanders Nightly News. I thank you guys for joining me. We'll be live tomorrow night for Commanders a Nightly News Live, and taking your comments. And that'll be the last show that won't be pre-recorded of the week. So any questions you got, tomorrow night will be the time to get them off of your chest. We got an opportunity to go to 2-0. And we'll know what the Eagles have done by the time we play our game. They play on Thursday night. The Cowboys got a tough one against the Jets. I know there's no Aaron Rodgers. It's still going to be a tough game. And the Giants already started 0-1, haven't even scored a single point this season. And Arizona, we just saw them, and we know they're a lot tougher than people think. I expect the Giants to beat them, but guess what? If they play like they did on Sunday night against the Cardinals, they will lose that football game. So we'll see what happens, but we can't worry about anybody else. We need to worry about ourselves and take care of our business. There's an opportunity that lies in front of us to get off to a fast start. We got to take it. Are we about that life, or are we still the same old C's? We'll find out here shortly. But that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on Commanders Nightly News. You know what it is. Post up. Take command. Until next time, you guys, have a good one. Take care.
Here comes the diesel. Here comes the diesel. There's the snap, hand to Riggins. Good hold. He's got the first down to the 40. He's gone. The 35, the 30, the 20.